Hey everybody, welcome back. I thought today I might give you a little bit of a van tour. I've been putting it together for the past few months, and I have the van looking pretty good for an initial, for its initial build. We're gonna keep working on it, so any improvements will come, and we'll edit them in time. So this is my initial van tour. It'll give you some idea as to how we started off. We've got some things in the works, planned in the works, and so as we get those done, we'll keep you posted. So thanks for watching, and enjoy. So we're going to go ahead and start from the front. I'm not a big fan of keeping a lot of stuff up front, so this should be pretty easy to do, this first part. And we're looking from the back into the front, and I'll take you around the front. Normally I keep blankets on the top of the seats because I don't want the dog to get things all manky. As you can see, there's really not much here. I do have my GPS, which is my track phone. And what I did with that was, this is actually a GoPro mount with a clamp on it. The thing with ProMasters is they're wonderful, but they don't have, there's nothing on the dashboard that's really flat enough to keep like a suction cup that you would normally use for like to hold your GPS. So what I did was I got a GoPro mount, and then I velcroed the back of the phone to the piece that slides in. I've had to hot glue the back a couple of times. The cardboard will sometimes come apart. As you can see, there's not much down here. My quarters for my laundry. And then down on the side, on the passenger side, is where I keep my dog water, the little bottles of dog water. And that way I keep it separate from the water, the drinking water. And on the passenger side, the passenger seat, is where I keep my photography equipment. I had originally had a sports bag, but I found it really difficult to have to pick them up and pick the bag up every time I wanted to use the camera. And you can see the back of the passenger side is all that. It's a neat little thing that hooks on the back, and that's got all my filters and some of my lenses and my camera body, and it works really good. And then if you look down here, my bigger lenses are down there. And then if we swing over to in back of the driver's side, you'll see what I've got is my curtains, and this is my office. And then down here is my extra writing paper, and my solar panel also slips in back of the driver's seat. And then I have my power station, and then my big office drawers with all kinds of things. I've got like staples and envelopes, cords, and these are for programs for my computer. And then in this one, I've got all kinds of gadgets. I kept my iPod radio clock. I don't have an iPod anymore. I'm going to have to get one. Amazon still has some. And then I did keep an electric sharpener. It's small. but it'll fit. And then my office stuff. And then Miss Kitty, who she actually works as a pencil holder. She was in Cedar Top, so I kept her a lot of extra writing pad paper and under there. And then these curtains, I originally only had two panels, and then they're together with a little hook that used to be a belt, and they'll come across. And I originally only had two, but you can see the two really don't do it, and they're really not there for privacy. They're there to keep the heat in, because I like it warm, and I don't put I don't put Reflectix on the front, at least not now. And so that's the front corner. I've got a few of these I had left. They were from one of those calculator thingies, and I kept the paper. And then my dream catcher I got from my Aunt Irma, gave it to either me or my son, I can't remember which. And then my loon, and then a light that's USB. My computer. I also have some books underneath. You can see my books are under there. And then I've got just paperwork that needs to be done. And then my little thing that my son gave me, my Mayflower, because my Mayflower doohickey. And that's about it for the office. Bunch of paperwork, box full of paperwork that I have to go through. And then up here I have just the last stuffed animals that I had. I've got Coda's little green alligator that he kept. That's the last of his. I got one more animal. And then my reindeer and my moose. And then one picture that I just couldn't get rid of is the dog picture, and it's up there with magnets. And it stays pretty well. It stays pretty well. And then I'm gonna put, that's a picture holder, magnetic picture holder. And what I think, I've got a plan to do with the magnetic picture holders, and in the future. And a couple of puck lights. And then this thing that came with a gadget that I bought for that was magnetic for pulling things out of small spaces. Coming around from the back, I've got my closet, or what works as a closet, jackets and two skirts that I can't fold up and put in a bag. And then down below I've got my a couple extra blankets and my towels and my pants and shirts and just shampoos and stuff like that, and a couple pillows. And squished in the back I've got a little chair. So, like I said, I'm not sure what I want to do for insulation on this van. I'm still thinking about that. I like the upper part to be able to attach like art to with a magnetic sheet, and it's kind of jazzes up the place a little bit. And then coming down, where I have my towels and my clothes, that will be where I'm going to put my refrigerator at some point to be announced. But that is going to have to wait a little bit. So then we get to my bed, which right now is a futon. And just a side note, the little koala that was my son's, and it was a project that they did in 3rd grade where they had to bring in a stuffed animal, and they would ship that stuffed animal off with a little note to one of their friends, package him up, ship him off, and the friend would put a postcard in the little pouch in the back, write a little note, and then send him off to another friend. And so you had this, each kid had a stuffed animal that went wherever, across the country, and some, I guess, some around across the world. Coda was one of the very few kids to get his animal back. Most of them didn't come back, but so I kept it. I couldn't let him go, and he's kind of a traveling koala. And then this is a shot of my bed, and I'll show you what we have in back and underneath in a minute. So under my bed, I have storage, and you can see my tools are under there. I have a sewing kit under there. I have a little heater under there, and my handy dandy glue gun, and then a recipe project that I've got started, and my printer. And yeah, I'm a photographer, so I like my printer. And then some photography books. I heard one of the nomads was talking about how you couldn't take a printer with you, and I beg to differ, because I think if you think something is important, you'll find a way to take it with you. And in my case, it's a printer. I can't live without a printer. I print everything. And before we go behind the bed, just a little note on the art. The picture of the little dog that was given to me by a friend, and of all the art, that's the only piece I really kept. He looked so cute, just kind of sitting there. And then my Free Spirit license plate I had on a car I had years ago. And then, of course, 2 name plaques for one of the horses I used to take care of. And he'll forever be in my heart. He was my baby. Also on this wall, I have a thermometer with a humidity thing. Nice to keep track of how hot it is in the van. So as you can see, we are finally at the bed point. And then back to my office. I've been putting off having to undo the bed, but just to show you how we do it, we'll do it. So my bed is a futon, which I bought at a used furniture place. I think I paid $80 for it. I think I've seen similar ones in Walmart, so it's not that fancy. But I dropped one cushion so you can see, and this is what I've got stored in back. So as you can see, the back is storage, my tools, and another shot of my like sewing kit, and just hammer, nails, stuff that I might need on the journey of life, I guess. And I did do a couple of templates for when I do decide to do some building. And as you can see, this is to get around these wheel wells. So I've got my templates already. Okay, so we are continuing our little van tour, and we got the front done, so now we're working on the back, and we're looking toward the cab, and I've got my blankets all stashed up above the cab, including a couple of old horse blankets that I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with. Thinking I might leave them to the Harness Racing Hall of Fame because one of them's kind of special anyway. And we're going to bring it around, and you'll see the screens that I put in. And these were added actually after I left the farm, which was probably a little late because where I park at the farm is, of course, near the barn, and barns tend to attract flies. So I'm hoping that when we get back to the farm this spring, that those screens will be quite useful. And then down here, I have my water, and I'm a sucker for Lipton iced tea and what I call fizzy water. It's actually seltzer water. And then coming around, let the light get accustomed to the new conditions here. And across the top, I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do as far as insulation wise, and what I'm going to do with the top that you can see up here. I like having the magnetic up at the top. And currently I have my spices hanging in baskets. That is going to be something we got to figure out in the future how to do. And then down here is my kitchen, and you can see my microwave and my toaster oven, which I've used a couple of times. My microwave I use a lot. And then my only refrigeration is this little cooler. We're waiting on getting some solar panels on the roof. And then two little things I haven't had the heart to get rid of is my moose and my pink pig that my son made for me in art class. And so now we'll look down and start up here. So we'll start, and then this was a cabinet that I got. It was like the first thing I got even before I got my futon, and it works really, really good. Let me pull it open, and it has all of my utensils and my cookware, silverware, all that stuff that you need to bake. And then down in here, I have my pots, my pans, everything that'll fit in either a microwave or a toaster oven. I do still have my electric skillet, which I'm debating. I'm going back and forth whether or not I really want to keep the electric skillet. I do make a couple of recipes that I love it for. My crock pot's in there. My rolling pin, should I ever decide to make some cookies again. And then on this side, I have two induction plates. Excuse me, dishes. I just added this, which I thought was really nifty. It's actually a magazine rack, and I'd seen this somewhere on something, and it just works so great, and it fits perfect. I do have room under here should I want to get an Instapot. Basically, that's all I need left is an Instapot and a personal blender, because I do like my smoothies. And then we're going to go ahead and close this. So underneath my cabinet, this cabinet, I do have room. I actually have my extension cords under here and a couple of tripods, camera tripods. And I did keep my electric knife sharpener. It's small, and I just didn't see any reason to get rid of it, so that is still under there. There's space. I can put some more stuff in there if I have to. So this was a neat little acquisition. This is a dry sink, and Now it doesn't match the other cabinet, but it works for what I need. This is my dry food storage. I've got some rags in here. I use rags for everything. I don't use paper towels or toilet paper. And then a lot of dry food storage is in here. The one thing that I had to really figure out was how to fit this around the wheel well of my ProMaster, which can be a bit tricky. So I did do a piece on how I cut it out, and that I will insert here. These ProMasters are brilliant vans for camper vans, but they come with one issue. They have big honking in your face wheel wells, and I'll show you. You have to figure out a solution. My solution was to learn how to use a jigsaw, and I don't know how clear this is going to be, but I cut out in back of the back of the cabinet, and I can tell you I was sweating, thinking I'm just throwing away $150 on a cabinet, and we'll end up with nothing, but it worked. So these on the cabinet, these are just boards that are put into place in the shelf, and I managed to save a part of the corner so that that shelf is gonna stay in place. It's not pretty, but it works. And I took a couple of the support pieces from the back and glued them to the bottom of this. I will show you. This is actually just lays in the back, and I glued them to the back alongside the wheel well, and that seems to hold everything in place. And so when I go through with my tour, I will give you all an idea of what we got in here, because it's the wheel well is about 9 inches out, about 18 inches high. As you can see, I cut 18 inches, so I'm just a little high, and it's about 30 inches long. So you're taking that out of your cabinet, but I can still, it still allows me to put a microwave on top, which is what I really wanted to do. And the railing, I had thought maybe I will take the railing off, but I think it'll help hold the microwave in place when we're driving. So I am going to have to get some magnets or some way to shut these doors, because there are no magnets there currently, and they don't stay shut. So for traveling, I'm probably going to have to get some magnets. And one of the things that this does allow me is I have a few inches in the back that I can store some stuff. And under here, I've got some sandals. I've got mostly flat sandals, and I haven't figured out whether I'm going to keep them yet or not. And then in the back tends to be a catch-all. I've got dirty laundry back here. I've got the dog's food. I store my buckets back here because I love buckets. I just have a thing for buckets. And then up here is my shower things. for when I can take a shower. It's very, very easy to take a shower in these ProMasters. And then I got some more screens up above, more fly screens. I was lucky last year in that we didn't get too hot in here. I'm debating as to whether or not to add a ceiling fan right away when I do the solar panels, or wait and see. I do really want like a max air fan, but funds being as they are, I might have to wait on them. At least for now, at least to start with, this is pretty much what I've come up with, and it's taken like 6 months to get to this point. But my goal was to see what I needed before I started doing any real building out, and we'll go from there. So with the bed reassembled, I guess you could call this the starting point, and anything that we add from now on, we'll try and do updates and keep y'all posted. And as we turn around, you can see the back, and right now it's quite comfortable. I do miss not having a refrigerator, but that will come.